All right. Crossroads podcast number 54. I'm Jake Ryan, and this is my boy, James LaFountain.
Yes, sir.
And James LaFountain made a super dope audio intro. We still got to make the video intro, but I'm going to share it with y'all. I was super stoked when you made this, bro.
I mean, yeah, I was gonna fuck around with it a little more. But I mean, if it works, it works.
I mean, you can, work your magic. But let's check this one out right now.
Word.
There's a place where deals are made and legends are born. You boys know what to do. Sure, we know what to do. And that is not to let the devil know anything.
Hell yeah, dude.
Dude, that is super dope. I love that.
Hell yeah.
Where'd you find those?
So the very first one was trailer for Crossroads movie.
Oh, nice.
Right? And that's like the opening line of the trailer is like, there's a place where deals are made.
There's a place. Of course.
It was for sure one of those trailers. And then I think where he's like, you boys always know what to do. I can't remember what that one came from. I think it was just a scene from that movie. I'm gonna have to figure that out. But then yeah, and then the guy responds, it's in the same clip. It's like, yeah, we know what to do. And then the next one is Alan Watts, where he's talking about karma and tricking the devil, basically.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he's like, and that is to not let the devil know anything.
Dude, that's super dope. I love Alan Watts.
And then this other one was like some loop that I found. I think I got it off a Splice. You could barely hear it in the background, just when like the full guitar and drums come in, says something about as I go down that road, Lord, keep me from evil. Nice. And then obviously the very end one is I went to the Crossroads, Robert Johnson.
Dude, yeah, I love Robert Johnson.
Dude, after I made that shit, I was just like jamming hella Robert Johnson, just like in the shower playing off my phone. Like it's a vibe.
Dude, for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna check out some of this Robert Johnson right now. Dude, yeah, he's the original, right? So
I mean,
the devil, they say.
What's dope too is like I'm pretty sure that music is public domain now, right?
Oh, it's been so long, like after 60 years it becomes public domain.
I think it's 100 years.
Oh,
I could be wrong, but so yeah, I just thought it was cool, like old shit like that, you could just sample the fuck out of it,
right? Dude, that's awesome. Hopefully one day we can go actually check out his grave. Yeah, dude, I love that old music, that like Delta blues.
Yep.
It's just, there's something about it. And I don't know, that's, to me, when it came to rock and roll, and when I was first getting into rock music, and I was just like, I gotta trace it back, so I'd be like, oh yeah, I got into all the, because everybody's into screamo, like when we're in high school,
right?
And then we kind of grew up in that like pop punk era, Blink 182.
Oh yeah.
And then I was just like, oh, I'll go back to the 80s hair metal and like 70s, 60s, all that, like Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. And then it just led me to the blues. I'm like, oh, this is like where it started or something.
For sure. Dude, it's funny because that's just kind of my like when I pick up a guitar, that's like my default mode of playing, you know.
Blues.
I would way rather just like plink around in some blues type shit than just like, you know, strumming chords and shit is fun too, but like unless you're singing, you know,
Yeah.
or like really trying to come up with something. Yeah, if I just pick up a guitar and fuck around, it's always just like some blues shit.
Like lead, like blues scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
straight
That's I'm like, dude, if you just learn the blues scale, you're good to go.
up. For
And
real.
yeah, just like everything I probably play is really based around the blues scale.
Yeah, you were because we were talking about doing slide guitar,
Hmm.
and I don't know, I never really did it that much, but I didn't know there was different tunings,
Hmm.
which makes it so like I need to try it because I know as soon as I do it, I'm just gonna be like, this is so sick.
Yeah, dude, it is. And it's like I'll play in mainly like I don't even know what it is. Like I think it's like an open C or open D.
Hmm.
And it's just cool because it's like you just play it straight up. Don't even put your fingers on it, and it sounds awesome.
Right.
Slide it around. And
Can you still do like, I mean, obviously you could still probably play like lead type shit, right?
yeah, but it is kind of like you can play the lead stuff with the slide.
Hmm.
And it's just like since you tune these strings to different things, it'll be like you won't play like say the traditional blues scale. Like say one I always do is like I think it's dad fad.
Hmm.
So like detune the E to a D,
Right.
and then the A and D are the same,
Yep.
and then it's like a F sharp. So you
Hmm.
just detune the G just like a little bit,
Right.
detune the B, and then detune the E to A and D.
Hmm.
So like it's just like a little bit different.
Huh.
So you wouldn't hit like the blues scale just the same. You could play it like a note over, and
Right.
but some of these I'd experiment with. You could still hit like traditional chords,
Hmm.
but they just sound different. Some of them don't sound
That's
good, but
true.
yeah, it's just like
I
whenever
need to
I
try
get
that.
bored, being like, dude, I'm playing the same thing.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. Um, I think that shit where people like put it on their lap and play it like that, you know? And some
Oh,
people even like kind of start playing the drums with the body while they're doing the shit. Like
oh yeah,
some people get crazy with it.
dude. Yeah, I've playing some of that drum stuff with it, but I'm not that guy that's like, yo, this is my. I'm just like, dude, if it's not my thing, I'm not really gonna.
Yeah.
Like, you remember that Andy McGee or something? Do you ever see that guy?
I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, he'd do like I mean, I could show you a little thing of his. He's the one I discovered
Hmm.
that I think it was called drifting. But it's super dope. And he'd kind of do like a little bit of that tapping stuff. So here's just like a little bit of this guy. And I don't think Universal Music Group is gonna shut me down on this one because he's probably
See.
not affiliated with them. But
Oh yeah. Some Dave Matthews Band shit.
yeah, dude, it really is. Dave Matthews is super dope. His
Fuck yeah.
band is amazing.
Yeah,
I don't even know how many people are in the band.
dude. It's just it's that people just come and go.
That's pretty dope. That was kind of my idea with Crossroads as a band, where it's like, dude, I mean, Sure, I've always wanted to have a super group like set. These are the guys.
Yep,
But life is not always like that.
for sure.
We our first band, that's where I seen Crossroads for the first time
What?
in like Josh's basement.
Oh, right, the movie.
You were there.
Yeah. Hmm.
Had you seen it before then?
No,
I think that movie changed my life, dude.
dude, I remember being super into it. Then I didn't watch the whole thing again, but there's like it says it's the full movie on YouTube, but it's just like the main scenes, you know.
Oh, like the Steve Vai guitar battle at the end.
I mean, just it kind of skims through the movie, you know, so it has like the intro scenes and then just the whole but yeah, I checked it out and it was cool, dude. Like just kind of the story of the old man who is, you know, didn't really get what he wanted from his deal.
Yeah.
And then just the story of the kid who's like, you know, studying to be classical musician, but he really wants to play the blues.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was, I'd like to sit down and watch the whole movie again.
I should buy that movie. That's
So,
one I would buy. And the Britney Spears one too.
dude, you know what? I can't remember who I went with, but I'm pretty sure I seen that movie in the theaters.
Did you make out?
No, I can't remember who I went with. I think I just went with like my siblings.
I don't know if I've ever like made out with a chick in the movie theater.
You know what? I think I did, and I think it was just some girl that I met.
Oh yeah. Like at the movie theater? No.
Yeah, dude.
No way.
I swear to God, yeah.
Damn, dude, that was a lucky day.
I mean, when I was in middle school, like I lived in Idaho. Fuck, dude, we would just like scope out chicks. Like we would just search for them hard, like going roller skating and like.
I remember those days.
For sure.
Me and my homie would be like, all right, we're going to the mall today or tomorrow. We'd be planning this like at night, right?
Right.
We're skateboarding, you know, we're going to the mall. Tomorrow's the day, man. We're going to see some tits.
Yeah.
Never happened.
Dude.
The first pair of tits I really remember seeing, we were like skateboarding at this gas station, like late at night, just outside of the apartment. I might have already told you this story. And this biker comes rolling up and he's like, you guys want to see a cool trick? And his like biker bitch, big fat lady, shows her tits.
Right.
And we're like stoked, right? And but homie's like, man, did you notice it looked like she had like a little patch of hair that was like she shaved it on her chest, but it was probably like a faded tattoo.
Yeah.
But dude, what's up?
I got a crazy story. It was even crazier than that. We were fucking, I think it was me, Josh G, or I don't know who else was there. It was a few of us though. We're skating outside of, what's it? It's that elementary school where I had the 3-stair and then I had the 5-stair right there. Kind of by
like Whittier?
No, it was more towards 10th. Longfellow. Is that what it was called?
Maybe Longfellow. I can't remember. I would think I know that because I'm like, I'd skate like every school there. Yeah,
it was like in the back there was a little 3-stair and it had like the awning over it and it had like the roll up kind of ramp to it, and then the 5-stair.
Oh,
just
dude,
right
I remember that. It might have been Longfellow. Yeah.
And right across from there, there's these apartments. We were skating that little 3-stair, and we were there for a minute, and this chick kept like yelling at us out the window, and she eventually fucking like flashes us, and we're just like, fuck yeah, you know.
Hell yeah.
And she's like, do you guys want to come up here? And we're just like, what? Hell yeah. Like,
right.
and like I had my camera, dude. Like we were there filming, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so we go up there, and she's just like basically just starts stripping for us. And
Jesus.
dude, it was super weird because like I was just sitting there, like we were all just like sitting around in the living room, and she's just like, you know, showing us her tits and fucking taking off her shorts and shit.
But did she get totally?
She basically, dude, I mean, kind of, she was just like flashing us shit, you know.
Geez, man, what, like a horn dog?
Dude, it was crazy. And we
Great
were all
Falls,
just,
Montana, low income apartments, you know.
for real, dude. And yeah, so this dude shows up, and he's just like, oh, what's going on? Like he wasn't mad or anything, but he's like, yeah, dude, like you guys gotta go. He's like, I'm about to bang this chick, like. So we all dip, and we're just like still kind of outside at the school, you know. And we look up, and fucking he's just fucking banging her right there in the window, like. And we're just like, yeah, dude, or whatever. Like, and the window's open. It's one of those like crank windows that kind of like open like that, you know.
You can like hear everything.
Dude, yeah, and it was like way the fuck up there, but there was still some snow on the ground, so like we start packing snowballs and just start throwing, dude, and like he was getting so pissed, bro. He ran all the way down, fucking hopped in his car and like started chasing us and shit.
Oh shit.
Dude, yeah, like it was all nuts.
Oh man. Yeah, I remember one of my homies telling me that they were like out on a hike somewhere, and he's like, yeah, we've seen all these like these two hippies like banging across the way. And then they noticed that we seen them, and this hippie guy just starts chasing us down with his boner flopping around.
What?
Like, dude, what the hell? But dude,
Be so scary.
speaking of Britney Spears, have you seen her Instagram, bro?
I don't know.
Dude,
I've probably seen.
I mean,
shit
I
from
follow
it.
Britney Spears because I'm like, dude, I've loved Britney Spears since I was like fucking 6 years old or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I was showing my wife this because I was like, dude, what in the hell?
Why?
Because I'm just like, dude, first of all, like,
Dang.
where I'm like, yo, she's just posting these.
Right.
And I'm like, yo, you're Britney Spears. You don't need to be like you're so, I don't know if it's one of those things like your fame, like you want to make sure people still love you.
Right.
Cause I'm like,
Weird.
why don't you just start an OnlyFans, right? Like,
For real.
it's just, I don't know if it's the Disney brainwashing that is like, I don't know. It's just weird. I'm like, you wouldn't think that she would do that because I'm like, dude, you're like so famous already.
For sure.
You know, and plus, I just don't see anybody go that fully. Like, y'all see like a picture like this on people's Instagrams, even if they're like a stripper.
Right.
They don't, I don't know. It's just
Booty
crazy.
Spears.
Huh?
Booty Spears. One of those comments said.
But yeah.
It's a trip. Maybe she's like kind of going beyond it. She's like, I'm so famous, I don't need to do this shit, but I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah, maybe now she got her money from her conservatorship.
Right.
That's pretty
Dude,
fucked up.
I mean, it just sucks. Like, I would way rather her not have to do shit and like
To do shit? No, she probably needs to do shit. No.
I just, because I was gonna say like I would
mean,
love
douche it.
Oh. Yeah.
Just fucking around.
Yeah, it would be cool to see like what she would do these days as far as music. But I would way rather an artist be like have a happy life than, dude, because like it just sucks that the music business is like so fucking shady, you know.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you don't see Christina Aguilera. like doing that.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think one good thing about like, all these, Britney Spears is like probably the biggest example of like, just people expecting too much from an artist, like one person, and then they just like go crazy, um but they're the examples like that, and just how much that's happening. I think people are getting smarter about it, and just moving smarter, not putting themselves in the public eye so much that people are gonna fucking hate you no matter what. Like, if you're that famous, like at a certain point, there's just so much hate.
For sure. Just for being famous, even,
For sure.
and especially if you're somebody that's like, okay, if it's us, and then all of a sudden we became famous, or all of a sudden this podcast had 1,000 subscribers or 1,000,000 subscribers, that would be like, or if the music, one of your songs got 1,000,000 views,
Right.
People, how would that change people's perception of you? Even the people in Kalispell.
It definitely, it would change it a lot. That's just, it would be the same as if that happened to somebody I knew, like I'd be like, damn, it would make me want to check their shit out more. But that's kind of the thing, is like, this is kind of a tangent, but like, I kind of care less these days about like, if I do post something and it doesn't get the engagement that I want, or even a song, like if I, release content or music and nobody listens to it or whatever, or not as many people that I would like. I know for myself that like, dude, like Kendrick Lamar dropped an album and I'm like, okay, I'll listen to it. I did listen to it, but there's so much music out there. Like, I don't blame people for not listening to all their friends' music, and even just, the internet as a whole, like the people you're trying to broadcast your shit to, like,
yeah, it's
just not trying to shove your shit down people's throats and like getting like butthurt when nobody's supporting you.
I've felt that
shit. Because
but
that's,
like you say, getting over that.
Well, I think that's part of where you're gonna start to gain support, because when you're just starting out, and there's, just like I explained, there's so much shit for people that, people don't have time to click on every link when they're scrolling, but yeah, when you just get over that and just be like, I'm just okay, I'm just gonna keep posting, keep doing my shit, and you just put your shit in front of people's faces as much as you can, and whatever happens, like, you can't get upset about it, because as soon as you do that, like, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've seen people be like, dude, I can't fucking believe it, people aren't sharing my shit, like,
right. And I felt that way too, where it's like,
for sure,
what, or when it's just so strange how, especially when you see other people supporting other people,
right?
And it makes you wonder, why do they support them? What's the difference in the craft or the art or the way it's being, like marketed to the people, the way that's being presented, or who they're connecting with?
For sure. Yeah, there's all sorts of different reasons, for sure.
Well, now I finally feel like I've gotten to a point where I'm like, my mind is clearer. And, before I would just create. And it was like a way to like therapeutic. But now I think, especially after I got this Crossroads thing going, that I could kind of finally harness on a brand. And you know, in a way, it's also, I'm trying to make it less about me
Right.
and more about like what the brand represents, or what the music or art means to the people, because ultimately it's about creating art.
Dude. Yeah. What's that shirt you're wearing?
This Crossroads,
It's
new one.
dope. Fuck
Dying
yeah,
to
dude.
live. Yeah, I know. I thought Dying to Live, like, oh yeah, the skateboard video. Zero.
Oh, I didn't even. I mean, that's like the perfect shit to steal from, you know, is like cross pollination from other mediums, you know. Like
Yeah.
I'll do that like when I'm trying to come up with a name for shit, like just looking up like book titles and movie titles and shit like that. Like, you know, fucking Juice World did that shit all the time with his projects, you know, like
Yeah, and people might not even know, like,
for sure.
something from like in my mind, I'm like, yeah, there's probably tons of other things that are like dying to live. But in my mind, from coming from a skateboarding background, you know, it made me think of that. But
Right.
I guess it made me think of dying to live as in, like, first of all, substance abuse, and
Mm-hmm.
how it's like, yo, I'm like kind of killing myself in order to feel alive.
Mm-hmm.
But also when you're just like, say if you're working a job you hate, but you want to be like living your dream, or if you're, you know, just doing something, or you're not doing anything at all,
Right.
and you're just dying to live, you're like, man, I just want to go out and do something.
For sure.
Yeah, I just hired like some dude on Fiverr from like Bangladesh to make a graphic. I've been doing some stuff like that just to, I don't know, try some different things. And you know how it is, man. You get like, as a graphic artist, sometimes you just get bored of making your own stuff.
Dude, for sure. Like even if it is good and people say it's good, it's like there's just something about making something where you're too close to it, you know, like you can't, there's not that separation. That's what's cool about music and like listening to music, is like you didn't have to make it. So it's like it's just effortlessly enjoyable. Like when you're the one making the music or anything really, like there's so much effort and time and shit that goes into it that you can't like not really you can't not think about that when you're like listening to it, you know, or looking at something that you made. That's me at least, you know.
Well, yeah, like I kind of only listen to my own music when I'm creating it. And
Right.
then I don't really like listening to it. Like I like to perform it.
Yeah.
But if I was working, I don't even like to be like, hey, y'all, listen to my music.
Right.
Because it just makes me feel weird. I'm like, I don't want to hear myself.
Yeah, dude. It's like showing your shit to people is always weird. Like I think it's something you kind of have to get over, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like there's a time and a place for sure.
Yeah. And even the same, I don't know, just, I don't know if it's part of the ego of an artist, where you're kind of, you can make a great piece of artwork, but I'm kind of almost like never satisfied.
For sure. It's true.
Have you been making anything new lately? You even have time or energy? I haven't had a whole lot of time or energy.
I mean, not a whole lot, dude. But I'm getting the spot set up and just,
Oh yeah, new desk. That makes a big difference.
for sure. Yeah, new desk is dope. It's bigger, but it's also like actually flat, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Or is like I'll be
Like the earth. I'm just kidding. It is.
exactly. as it should
It's
be.
lumpy. No.
Right. Yeah,
I had
dude.
to
I
say
mean,
that.
I'm just slowly getting back into the mode. You know, I was trying to fuck around with some shit earlier today, but you know, try not to be too loud,
Mhm.
and then yeah, I mean, I'm always like at least fucking around with something.
Right. Yeah, it's hard to. Sometimes I get so in my head, and I'm just like, okay, I need to channel something fresh. You know, when you get a riff or even producing something on the computer, and you're like, oh, that's it. That's what I was looking for.
Yep.
It sounds fresh. It sounds brand new. And to me, it's always being like, you say something that hasn't been created yet.
For sure. Yeah, it's kind of like just what we were talking about before with like just it's a numbers thing. Like you have to create so much, you know, like because I know for me, like it's easy to get into like a funk or just start to think that your shit sucks, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But you really kind of just have to like just push through it, you know, like you kind of have to make a few mid songs before something sounds good, you know.
Yeah, and I think you don't even realize it till later sometimes, where you're like, you'll reflect back on some songs you created and be like, ooh, that one was actually really good. And then maybe you can improve on it, even if it's just in mixing.
For sure. Dude, yeah, like that is part of that, like being too close to it too, like as you're making it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
The more you can separate yourself from it, even just like taking breaks, I think that's super important, you know, because I've burnt myself out so quick trying to do something like just like going full bore right away on something, you know, and just like really trying to think about it super hard and kind of like, you know, you put so much pressure on yourself to come up with something good, and you just like, you know, if you're not taking breaks, you know, you just spend a couple hours on something and you're like, dude, this, I'm just tired and I don't
I'm
have
tired of
shit.
hearing this song now.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. But it's I guess part of the process. But yeah, I sent you one of those shirts today, actually.
Hell yeah, dude.
One of the Lost in a Wasteland shirts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But and I seen today they were bringing a helicopter out there to the Eclectic West.
I seen that too.
Dude, that was so dope. Yeah, that was a cool shoot. I'm so stoked that you made it out there. I was thinking about that like just the other day or today, that I was like, dude, that was so cool of Anthony to come out too.
Yep.
And he was helpful, helped you, helped me.
Yep.
He basically was like a bodyguard to us walking down the road, you know.
Right.
I'm out there just out of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys are like keeping me grounded. So yeah, it was a great time. I look forward to more of our adventures we do. We rad. One day we'll actually go. I want to go to the actual crossroads that they're like, Robert Johnson went to this crossroads.
Right. Dude.
And get my soul back. I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not today, Satan. No.
Right. Dude, yeah. I mean, I really believe in like how different places kind of have just like different energies, you know. Because for sure there's a weird kind of dark like attraction for LA, you know.
For sure.
It's weird.
I love it. Like, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
even the vibes when you're there, like when you're in it. Remember when we're watching, like, I don't know, that night I got all wine drunk. You were probably as well.
Mm-hmm.
and I literally felt like I was in Satan's stomach or
Dude.
something.
Yeah.
And I just remember I threw my my lightning bolt chain.
Right.
I threw a wine glass or something, a wine cup at the wall too, and I was like, I'm checking out that place. There's like wine all over the place. I'm like, oh god, I'm probably not gonna get my deposit back. I guess I got too fucking wasted.
Yeah.
But,
That's just what's crazy is like, if you do that shit around here or around there, like you're going to jail, dude, for sure.
oh yeah, dude.
Like, you know,
Out there, like, it's just another day. Yeah.
well, no, not that, but like they can't do shit about it really. If they call the cops aren't coming, you know.
They got way more to deal with.
They might come, but yeah, I fucking doubt it, you know.
Yeah, they're and in our room, there's like, dude, there's probably like a hooker snorting meth upstairs, and they're like cooking it up and selling it or something, you know.
Dude, for sure.
But yeah, it was pretty cool. I definitely want to go back. Yeah, dude. And I'm still one day I'm like, yeah, I'll probably still have once I even get established here really good and have a place, I'm like, sure, I'll rent out an apartment in LA for a few months and, you know, go make music,
Yep.
go hang out with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You've been checking that?
I mean, I see shit like on Twitter, and
You see shit, Amber Heard's shit in Johnny Depp's bed.
I see, yeah, I follow the shit parts of it, you know.
Yeah, and today, have you seen the Jason Momoa thing?
No, I heard someone talking about that though.
Yeah, my wife is like, did you see that Jason Momoa testified? And I was like, dude, that was a joke. Like somebody made like one of those bad lip reading things.
Right.
And I'm like, man, if they could fool Kayliana, like think about, they fooled 50% of America.
Yeah, dude, fucking it's crazy that you can look shit up so easily, but most people don't, you know. They'll just see something that looks somewhat legit and just be like, oh, did you hear this?
Dude, I seen one the other day that was about Super Mario Kart.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, Nintendo's deal with I don't know what country where they have to, the women can only like show their eyes.
Oh, like Saudi Arabia.
They're like, Nintendo's deal with Saudi Arabia has changed, and the females in Mario Kart can no longer you can't drive. And
No
I was
way.
like reading through it for a while. I was like, oh, this is like a fucking joke website.
Oh, right.
Dude, but my sister sent me a link today that was, I gotta find it. It was, you know, that Will Smith slapping Chris Rock?
Mm-hmm.
There was like an old movie that happened in.
What?
Yeah, dude. And I was like, no way. Because, you know, everybody be like, oh, it's all fake. It's all like an Illuminati stage to keep us distracted from the government's whatchamacallit. And man, I can't even find it.
Dude,
I wish I could, because it blew my mind, man.
Right. Dude, I want to see that.
I'm gonna find it. Because I was just like, dude, this is insane. She sent me it on a TikTok, so I don't know if I can even find it and in the real time. Because she sent it to my phone.
Right.
But once my sister started getting turned on to all these like kind of conspiracy theory stuff,
Mm-hmm.
then it really started to, she would send me things like all the time.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, I gotta figure out what this movie is. What? All the comments have been like turned off or something? I don't think you can even. Let me see. Okay. I'm just gonna look up the guy's TikTok and then I think we could find it.
Yeah.
Gert Pratt is the guy's name.
Dude.
But I was just like, no way. Because of course in my mind too, I was like, yeah, this is some like bullshit. Because I'm like, Hollywood is just, it's Hollywood. Who knows what to believe?
For sure.
Plus they are into that, like, in my mind, I'm like, dude, they're into black magic. Like if people be like, well, I don't even know if the devil's real or not. I'm like, well, some people definitely do, and they like worship him or, or whatever. All right. I found it. Now, if I can make it any bigger, then I've gotta. Well, we'll just try it how it is. And I'll try to blow your mind right here. Can you hear this?
Man, everyone really does look great tonight. Jeremy, I saw you on the red carpet. Looks like you lost those last few pounds. Angela, looks like you picked up that bit of weight Jeremy dropped. Could have been a carrot in that dress, but I guess you brought pumpkins back in season tonight. Good thing there's no fairy godmother around. You'd be carting Cinderella off to the ball. Oh, what's this? Elijah taking the stage. Oh! Wow. Elijah Lewis just slapped the heck out of me.
Don't you ever talk about my wife that way.
Relax, my friend. It was just a joke. I'm a comedian, Elijah. You know how it is. No disrespect, Angela. You're gorgeous.
I said keep my wife's name out your mouth, Corey.
Nice.
Wow. Was that made after?
And it was made before, I believe.
That's a trip. I would like to look more into that because that's crazy how similar that is.
If it was made after, well, it just looks like old film. I mean, of course they can like replicate old film look.
Dude.
But
yeah, I mean, I thought that shit was pretty weird. Just like, I don't know, man. Fucking, it wasn't even that bad of a joke. And he was laughing at first, and then he walks up there and fucking slaps him. And then if you watch it, when he slaps him, like the fucking second after that he slaps him, he's like smiling. And so I don't know. I thought it. Plus, and then he fucking went up. He won an award after that, and
dude. And that's why I was like,
they just
Hollywood,
let him. Yeah,
you know, and that's like, that kind of shows that whole power trip thing in my mind, where it's like, you know, how celebrities can be put on a pedestal where they can just get away with shit that, like, if you or I did that, or if somebody else even went up there and did that,
exactly,
you know, security would rush them and and they'd be locked up. And
not only that, like, if it was somebody that, I mean, if it was Will Smith, you know, and say somebody, me or you, just walked up to him and slapped him, at that time everybody loved Will Smith, you know, like, so the whole country would just be like against you because you fucking slap, you know, someone who's like respected. Or
and that's the weirdest thing about it too, is like I hate to even bring this up, but you know, when people like Tom Hanks, like,
Mhm.
did you ever hear the bad stuff coming out about Tom Hanks?
Like the Pizzagate type shit.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And people would like dig into, well, that one dude, that Isaac Cappy came out saying all this shit about chomos in Hollywood and
Hmm.
naming all these people and then like turning up dead. And of
Right.
course, you know, it's like, oh, he's killed himself. But it's one of those things where it's like, yo, he's such a trusted and well-respected person.
Yeah.
That it's like, no, dude, that guy, he played Forrest Gump. He's Woody.
Right.
You know, like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But you never
It's,
know. I don't know. I don't want that stuff to be true, but it kind of ruined them for me.
well, yeah, dude, like you can't really be too sure about anybody these days, you know, like
Especially if they're like super nice.
mhm. Dude, yeah, like that's kind of what I was gonna say about like when we're talking about, you know, people choosing to support you or not.
Mhm.
Like if you could be doing all the right things and some people just aren't gonna like you, you know, like they just don't like your vibe or whatever, you know, like you can't change that, you know, and but yeah, like people pick up on those things and they're just even like in other areas, you know, like there's just some people that I just don't like and I don't know why, you know.
I mean, me too. Even in this area, there's a lot.
Hmm.
Other artists that I'll see that they'll have like a big following of their friends or something. And I'll even hit them up and be like, yo, do you want to get on the Crossroads podcast? And they're usually like, yeah, for sure. And then they just like totally ignore me.
Hmm.
And I'm always like, what's the why? Is it I'm not popular enough? Like, oh, if this podcast had, you know, thousands of views every podcast,
Right.
then would you want to get on it?
Hmm.
You know? And it's like, you know, it just makes me wonder about these people. And the thing is, a lot of these people would kind of give me a bad vibe already.
Right.
Where I was like, I just feel like maybe it's because I'm another artist
Yeah.
that they view me as like competition or something. I have no idea, but I just move on and be like, whatever. I
Yep.
don't like unfriend these people, but I don't like to see their stuff.
And that's fine, you know, like nobody, that's kind of my whole thing is like nobody is obligated to do anything like with that type of shit, you know, like it's just people, you can't fuck with everything. There's too much shit out there. And my point of view though is like you don't even really have to like fuck with people or like really work with them or anything in any like, you know, significant capacity, but you guys can work together to help each other out with like shit like that, you know. It's like, yo, you up on the podcast, you know, your fans will check out the podcast and you know, maybe some of my fans will check your shit out. So it's like, and then you don't have to, it's not like from then on out you guys are like in some partnership or something like.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all about, you know, it is nice to connect with people on a human level and be like, look, you know, even since I've been getting sober and like making amends to people, because I'm like, you know what, when I was fucking drunk and on drugs, I could be an asshole.
Right.
And I would view other people like competition as well. And I'd feel it not only from my mind, but from their mind, where it's like, yeah, you know, we're in the same like arena, but there's still that like, well, I want the people to give me their attention and not you. And that's this weird game. Like you could be performing at the same show, but it's like, well, who got the crowd most amped up?
Right.
You know, who are they here to see? Are you the
For sure.
person that's like, oh, I don't really want to see this person, but they're opening up, and you know.
Mm-hmm.
So there's all those weird things about being a performer and kind of making your way up or trying to increase your audience. And I don't think there's anything wrong with growing your audience at all.
Oh. Now, man, I mean, it's just, I think it's working its way, you know, and I don't even think, I think the more you try, the harder it's going to be, you know, because there's the way I get attracted to things like online to want to check it out more is like, I see it all the time, you know, and it kind of ingrains this sense that, for one, like there's new stuff all the time, you know, so like if you do kind of like hop on board and become a fan or whatever, like you're kind of part of the club, you know, and like when new shit comes out, it's like you're part of it in a way, you know, as opposed to like, you know, if you're a fan of Elvis, it's like you know, the shit's already out, like you
Oh
got
yeah,
what you
for
got.
sure. People like Bert Kreischer said it once, where he's like, I remember somebody coming up to me and they said, I've been following you for a long time and I've been rooting for you because I chose you. Like you were the person I wanted to see succeeding. Or even if you're a network of people where it's like, I want to see those people succeed.
And that's kind of what's crazy too, is like if a bunch of people just decide to make you like famous, like it'll just happen, you know, like literally, like if enough people, you know, say like 5 million people are like, yeah, okay, he's cool, like let's make him famous. Like we just like him, and then you know you get 1 million followers overnight, and then there's articles about you, and then it's just like, just because people decided, you know.
Yeah. And well, then there's that tricky thing of something I've seen and experienced, and I'm working on now getting back into promoting my stuff, but from a different angle and outlook, where it's like, it's not necessarily about me. It's about the brand and the artwork. And before, I was really focused on me. I hate to admit it, you know. But I would see, you know, when people really put a lot of money into promoting themselves, your numbers will go up no matter what. And those numbers seem to have such an influence on people's belief in you, or their love or their hate for you. Like some people see the numbers go up, they're like, dang, they're doing good. I'm like, I better really like, all right, I'm on your team.
Yeah.
And then other people be like, oh, their numbers are going up. I want them to fail.
For sure.
And yeah, I don't know. It's a double-edged sword for sure. But I think just keeping it real and being true to yourself is the most important thing.
Dude. Yeah. I don't know, man. I think like this type of shit is fun, and making music is fun, you know, like all this shit that we're trying to do is just like, it's fun, you know, and it's really not that serious, you know, like sometimes you can get in your head about it, and just especially with like, you know, competing with your peers and all that.
Mhm.
But really, like, the best shit, I like to see people have fun, you know, like
Mhm.
I like to hear people have fun in their music, you know, and but I also like people to like do really like in-depth concepts, you know, and just weird different shit, but it's like really well put together, you know.
Mhm.
But it's still, there's like, I don't know, just being, I guess just like, yeah, just taking the ego out of it as much as you can, you know, and like just letting the art do its thing, you know, because
Mhm. Yeah, it's like, well, you got that tattoo, starve the ego, feed the soul. And it's kind of like when I be creating, trying to come up with a good chord progression or something on a guitar, or write a song, even like just write some lyrics. And it's like when you're in your ego and your head and you're like, I'm just thinking about it too much. I'm thinking about it and I can't figure it out.
Mhm.
And then when you kind of let go of that ego and it starts to flow from the soul, it just starts to like magically happen somehow. I
For
don't
sure.
know. And I was even telling my fam about that the other day, where I was like, you know, when I was on drugs and everything, and I love to create under the influence,
Mhm.
I would lose control.
Right.
But that's what I liked about it, in a
Mhm.
weird way, where it felt like I was out of control, like almost like I would literally feel out of body
Right.
and be like, almost feel like I was controlling my body from outside of it. But I'm like, when I look back on it, I'm like, I don't know, maybe some other energies or things were operating through me. And again, it makes me think of that thing like sell your soul to the devil. And it's like, yo, the devil's rocking. Da, 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 da.
Well, so like I kind of went on just like a, when I was putting together that intro song,
Mhm.
um, you know, I was just thinking of all the shit to look up in different videos and trying to come up with little little clips and all that. But I, you know, I was sitting there listening to that Alan Watts talk, and then just some of the shit I was coming across, it was like I should send you the Alan Watts one because it was like pretty short, you know, it was like 5 minutes long or something.
Mhm.
Um, but he was just talking about, like I said, karma. And I guess karma, like the translation for it is like action with a purpose, basically. What is that?
We got a little Koopa Troopa flying in.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Action with a purpose, huh?
Yeah, that's what karma means. But yeah, just listening to those talks, and um it was just, I liked the part about where he's talking about like deceiving the devil, you know, because he's talking about people that are like getting sober and people that are trying to make better decisions in their life. They kind of make this statement that like, oh, I'm gonna be clean for the rest of my life, you know.
Mhm.
And then the devil hears that and is like, oh, fuck that, like I'm coming after you, you know, like I'm gonna give all the temptations, you know.
Oh, for sure. I've experienced it.
So
I still do.
for sure, yeah.
And so that's the weirdest thing, is that I ultimately had to come to that like conclusion, which really sucked for me, to be like, oh, I have to be like sober for the rest of my life, basically, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And hey Luigi, what are you doing? You go take care of Mario, all right? Thanks. Go save the world from King Koopa. And Yeah, that was like not a very cool decision to make, because then I would think to myself, like, do I still got it? Like, can I rock? Can I write a good song without that influence? Although I never wanted to be that guy. I always wanted to be sober. Even when we first got in the band together,
Mhm.
I was like sober. I was sober.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna stay sober forever. Why?
Yeah. Well, what he was saying was like, instead of saying that, making those bold statements, you know, like basically kind of tricking the devil by being like, well, I'm just gonna, just for today, you know, like I guess that kind of is in like the 12-step type shit, you know.
One day at a time.
hmm But another thing that I came across, I can't remember what it was in, but was talking about karma. I think it might have been the Alan Watts one. But how some people believe that when we're born with like a genie or a spirit, something that is like attached to us at birth. And like if we have a gift, whether or not we use that gift,
You're distracting me.
the genie will be like good for you or bad for you. Like, you know, like if you're putting in the work and using your gift and all that, like they'll like protect you, kind of guardian angel, you know. But if you throw your gift away, then it kind of becomes like a demon and torments you type shit.
Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah, I've once heard the idea that like when you're born, you are attached with something like an angel and a demon or something like that. Maybe it's, one and the same.
Mm-hmm.
And because before I would also think, oh, my angels are going to help me. They only want good things for me. And my demons only want bad things for me. And then I also started to think that, well, what if they're both just trying to help me?
Right.
And like to move just forward in life and become like the best I can be, because it's kind of that balancing with karma that you'd see. Like I'd see the yin yang to represent karma a lot of time. For some reason I thought it would kind of represent that.
Right.
And yeah, because I would be like, oh man, my scale's a little too dark, my karma's too negative, or it's so positive, I'm not letting any negative in.
Right.
And just trying to balance it out.
Yeah, dude.
Or maybe you're born with karma, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, that's what he was talking about too, was like reincarnation type shit. Oh, maybe no, I think it was this podcast. I was listening to Duncan Trussell podcast too, where he was talking about that type of shit, which was weird because it was like, I was listening to all this shit, like I said, trying to make that intro. So I'm like listening to all this shit and watching these videos and shit. Then I listen to that podcast and they're talking about the same shit. Yeah, dude, fucking, I forgot what I was gonna say, but
well, that's what I would think, because I would, I'm big into reincarnation, and I'd always try to.
No, that's what he was saying, was like, we don't really know like if reincarnation is real, that we don't know what our karma really is doing. Like, say we do good throughout our lives and we think it's good karma, so the next time we're reincarnated, it's going to be better for us. But just the way time and space works, like you might be, it's not necessarily in order, like you might be paying off the karma of some, 1,000 lifetimes ago where you were a piece of shit, like,
oh yeah, for sure.
So like
yeah.
I mean,
And
what do you do?
and it makes me think too, because basically I would hear these ideas of like, oh, the point of, to be reincarnated over and over and over is to like become the most ultimate supreme spiritual being you could possibly be.
Mhm.
Or in a sense, I would think it's like the return to God, if that's what we all came from, you know, if we're like created in the image of God, or like a little something that comes from that source,
Right.
then it's like we have to live through all those lifetimes. Like, oh, you're gonna be born a boy, and you're gonna be born a girl, and you're gonna be born black and white, and
Right.
you're gonna be a slave in one life, and then the next you're gonna be like rich and famous, or you're gonna be like the Queen of England, or I don't know.
No, that's that's actually a really popular theory. We were talking about it on one of the very first podcasts, and I wasn't explaining it very well, but it was some video that I watched where they were like paraphrasing the story, but it was basically that, like, but it's you every time, you know. So like this lifetime I'm living as me, but next time I'm gonna live as you, and then next time I'm gonna live as, you know, your mom, and then until you've lived everybody's lives.
Oh shit.
But it's all you, you know, like.
That's true. Wow,
So I
that's
mean,
crazy.
and like I said, just like time and space, you know, it's like the way we think of it doesn't necessarily have to be the way it's like, you know.
Well, yeah, well, when you think that outside of like the fourth dimension or something, that all that stuff, if outside of time and those dimensions beyond time, I would think that all that stuff could be altered or something. Like, I mean, that's what I once had this idea that I was like, maybe in the heavens before you reincarnate, you know, it's like a video game where you like get to choose what you're gonna be, where you're like, oh, you know what? I'm gonna go be a bird,
Right.
fly around. I might only live like 5 years.
Mhm.
Or you're like, oh, now I'm gonna be a fly. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to eat shit.
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know if it's better or worse if you'd be able to pick.
I don't know, but it's just those interesting thoughts. Just like you say, when people make cool concepts for their music, that's just something interesting. Like,
Mhm.
there's people that have discovered this podcast like in other countries that are, they're like, I remember one guy left a message like, oh, dude, I'm super high right now, and I'm over in like the UK, and I just came across you guys, and this is like blowing my mind.
That's dope.
And just like those guys that hit me up today, the band in Canada,
Mhm.
I'm like, how'd you guys even come across me and the podcast? And I just connected, like connected to this person who's connected to this person, and just came across you.
Yep.
And really, when I started this podcast thing, I just wanted to, you and I always talked about doing a podcast.
Right.
And
For a
then
long time.
for a long time, and I like to even just ramble by myself and be like, yo, man, these are my thoughts on, you know, life.
Mhm.
I don't like to talk politics. I'd rather talk about reincarnation. But to also connect with other people, and not in the selfish way, you know, and not be like, well, I only want to talk to this person because they have a lot of followers and I want to get their followers.
Right.
It's like, no, I just would rather have an interesting conversation.
For sure. I mean, yeah,
But I've
it's.
thought that way too, where I was like, well, you know, I do want to connect with their audience and help
Mhm.
connect people that I'm connected with to them.
Yeah, dude, there's nothing wrong with it. It's everybody, shit like that, you know, like it helps both people. So there's nothing wrong with wanting that, you know, and like doing it for that reason, as well as just something that you want to do, you know.
Dude, some people probably won't ever listen into this until we hit 100 podcasts.
Well, for sure, dude, because you know, I think about the Joe Rogan podcast a lot because they started out, dude, like we're so far ahead of like when they started out,
Hmm.
they were just like on a couch with a fucking laptop sitting in front of them, you know.
Hmm.
So I mean, as far as like just the production side of it, like, you know, we basically already have all this shit. And I started listening to that pretty early, but it wasn't like when they very, very, very first started out.
I wonder
But
what the first podcast is like.
dude, I'm pretty sure it's fucking Bill Burr or something. But yeah, they're just sitting in the fucking like green room of the Comedy Store, I think.
Nice.
And they're just sitting there bullshitting, you know. But for sure, there's mad people that go back and look at those old ones, you know, just because they became a fan of it in the past couple of years or something, you know.
Hmm. I love Bill Burr. He was on Steve-O's podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And have you listened to that at all?
Yeah, just the other day.
Oh, dude, I love Steve-O has a great podcast, I think.
For sure.
But again, he's like, I'm like, dude, Steve-O pretty much only has like prime time, like celebrity people.
Right.
A little Xan. I did not
Mhm.
expect that.
That one was good. Yeah, I like his podcast a lot.
Yeah. Jackass 4.5 came out like yesterday.
On Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet.
Dang, I need to steal my cousin's password and watch that
Oh,
shit
yeah.
tonight, dude. Fuck
Dude,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Man.
dude. I'm gonna have some CBD drinks.
Dude, I got this drink my cousin gave me. It's like, I think it's just terpenes in it. Which
Oh yeah, so it's like I heard that was kind of what would alter people's minds in different ways. The terpenes are like the taste or smell or something.
I think it's that it does have that effect, but I think it's for like, it's similar to CBD, but it doesn't have the pain relieving effects. I think it just calms you down without you getting high.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my cousin gave it to me. I haven't tried it yet. I'm already so fucking tired all the time that I'm like, if I drink this, I better be ready to fall asleep quick. Cause
Yeah, true that.
dude.
Yeah, I'll have kombucha. I mean, like if I'm watching a movie, you know, back in the day, I'd be like, yo, smoking weed, drinking alcohol.
Mhm.
I'm gonna laugh my ass off.
Right.
And hell yeah, I like kind of miss smoking weed pretty often, but not really. Especially because now we have so many green shops around.
Mhm.
And it's like weird for me to be like, the fuck? I decided to quit smoking weed when it's like I can.
For sure.
But it was just not working for me anymore. I was like, dude, I can't fucking get high, so whatever.
Right.
But I definitely still have those types of thoughts. Like mushrooms
Mhm.
are one of those things where I'm like, I am fascinated with like what I'd still like to do one day is have like a Native American type ceremony.
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, look, man, this ain't just like, y'all, I'm eating mushrooms and
Straight up.
hanging out in the studio or whatever.
Yep.
But be like, no, I'm like hanging out in a teepee right now
Mhm.
and playing some drums and having this like transcendent spiritual experience.
Fuck yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with those types of things because it's almost like a rite of passage or something.
Dude. Yeah. I think that's what you're looking for, you know, that type of, even without the psychedelics, but like just that type of experience, you know, like for sure mushrooms will do that. Like I mean, I don't know. I think that's what they're made for, like
I do too, yeah.
for sure.
And other things too, where I mean, that's the coolest thing about those Native American like drum circles and dancing is that it's like that's what that's for. Is like, yo, we're gonna hit these levels without anything. Like it'll help you transcend just like the rhythm and the vibration. And then when they all get chanting,
Yeah.
then it just, I don't know, it does something powerful.
Music, man.
Yeah, powerful.
Mhm.
That's, you check out the new Superman music video at all?
Mhm.
It's pretty dope.
Yeah,
I like his blend of like native and hip hop.
for sure. He's dope.
Yeah, dude. I want to get some stuff like that. I mean, most people probably be like, you ain't no Native American. But I'm like, dude, that's what I feel the most connected with.
For sure.
It's weird.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it just sucks that like, because me and you are like kind of the same blend of ethnicities and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everything on like the European side is like super well documented and all that, which is cool, but I'm like, it's not that. It is interesting to me, you know. But like you said, like it's just, you know, it's hard to connect with the fact that your fucking grandpa was like a mill worker or some shit, you know, like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, but like the Native American shit is like, dude, yeah, that shit is, it's more of like a cultural, I don't know, there's a richness to it, you know.
Yeah. The connection with the earth and the sky and the universe and like animals.
Mm-hmm.
That's what has always blown my mind. Like every time, like I was leaving a job the other day and a bluebird flew right in front of my rig.
Yeah.
I tried to catch it on my phone, but my fucking phone was in selfie mode.
Right.
And this was so blue. And I was like, this has got to be like a good sign. And then, you know, like eagles, see a lot of like bald eagles around. I'm like, this is like, it's got to be a good sign. If I see a murder of crows, I'm like, oh, I don't know if that's a good sign or not. I don't.
Well, I was reading the only reason that crows have a like negative kind of stereotype about them is, I think it was like World War I, or like when cameras kind of were starting to become popular. People would be taking pictures of the battlefields and there was crows like feasting on the dead bodies, you know. But in Native American stories, they're actually like good, you know. They're can't remember the full story, but it was something like they're like the bringers of light, something like that. Like the sun got stolen from something, you know, and then the raven went and got the sun back and brought light back to the universe.
Nice.
So I mean, it's weird, dude, because like same thing with owls. Like for some reason owls are bad luck in Native
homie
American.
was saying that to me the other day, like, oh, because I was saying like, oh, I met this Native American lady that first thing she said to me was like, oh, your totem animal, one of your totem animals is the owl, because you die but you don't really die. I was like, oh, what? She had like a tall can in her hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I love that shit, dude. You know, they all have different stories and stuff, but that's just the thing, is like you don't really know. And for the like, are owls really bad luck? You know, like people
I feel like good luck to me.
What about people that work in like bird sanctuaries, right? And they take care of owls every day. Like, do they have bad luck or what? Like, how does that shit work? People just, I don't know. I think those things are interesting and it's cool to like you know, I don't know. It's interesting, but people that really believe it, you know,
Well, it's like the
I don't know if
snake.
I'm so
Like,
convinced.
I was born the year of the snake,
Mhm,
and I love snakes. I want to
Yeah.
get a snake.
for sure.
And people are like, what the fuck? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Snakes are evil. They will kill you.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. I just love snakes. I love the way they look.
They're dope.
Lizards, I love lizards.
Yeah,
And just the way they look is so cool. And
for sure.
the scales, just, I don't know.
Dude, snakes are sick. My my cousin is like deathly afraid of snakes.
Mm-hmm. Mine too.
We went swimming last summer, and I seen the snake, and it was just a tiny, tiny little baby snake. You know, it's just like holding it by the tail. And she fucking took off and like started crying.
You are one of those guys that you'll be like, just like walk up and grab something that most people are like, oh my God. You know.
I mean, depends
you'll
on
be
what
like-
it is, but yeah.
I know, but I've noticed that about you sometimes. I'm like, whoa, dude, James doesn't have any fear right now. And
I'll pick
that's
up
kind of
some
blowing
shit.
my mind.
Dude, yeah. I don't know, like spiders and shit. Like if a spider came crawling up at me right now, I'd be like, oh shit.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, but I'm not gonna be like, can't sleep that night type shit. Like,
I will kill some spiders,
right,
like a big motherfucker.
right,
But I'll definitely see some like, cause like, oh my God, spider dad, kill it. I'm like, oh, that little thing. Don't even worry about that. Like you can let
for
that
sure.
one. It's weird. I'll look up those things if like say sometimes I'll be in the studio or something, and then there's been times where it's like, oh, the spider just came right down in front of my face
Right.
and it's just chilling there. One time my uncle Riley, I probably told you this, spider came down and he's like, Jake, check this out. I was like 10 years old or something.
Mhm.
He's like, blew the spider to like float forward, and then boom,
Nah.
just ate the spider.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's some uncle shit.
Uncle shit. Yeah, for sure. Classic, like
dude.
pull my finger. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I haven't seen a spider in a long time, actually.
Yeah. You got a spider web tattoo at all?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I have
Probably get this cheek spider webbed out.
entirely.
Yeah.
Just make your whole face a spider web.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. I don't think I even have a spider tattoo, but I one time. Okay, I used to have a crazy fear of spiders. I probably already said this.
I don't know.
Well, one time, somebody at the bar gave me some LSD. Probably shouldn't have eaten it, but I was going to sleep that night. And, when you're tripping, you can't really sleep very good. You go into this, I call it the Salvador Dali melting clocks place.
Right.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm not asleep, but I'm in infinite time and space right now. And I just seen I felt like I was looking right at a spider. Like, remember that one time we seen that mandala of eyes?
Yep.
It felt like that. And we got Red Yoshi back. I'm telling a story about a spider. You might not want to hear this. Yeah, he hates spiders. He got bit by a spider too. I've been bit by spiders. And yeah, it just basically felt like I was staring the spider right in the eyes. And then I felt like the spider web kind of coming out, or it felt like I became the spider or something. I don't even know. But
Right.
the spider web came out, and then it just made me feel like, oh, the whole universe came from this spider, like the web of life.
Right.
We're all connected by this invisible web from this giant spiritual spider of God spider or something. I don't even know.
Dude. I mean, it is weird how I think we talked about it before. Just like when they show like the picture of the observable universe, you know, and it just kind of looks like it, not really a web like that, but kind of like a web of like kind of like roots almost type web, you know.
Dude, I gotta look that up.
It's a trip.
Yeah, dude, because I think I've seen that
Just
compared to like
clusters
the
of all
brain.
the galaxies, right?
Are you talking about like this type of stuff? Or no? I might be totally off.
Yeah, I mean, that's yep.
Like,
Yeah,
this is crazy how they're like, this is the human brain and this is the universe.
Yeah, click out of this picture real quick.
Like, go back.
Exit that selection that you have. Yeah. Now the one right there, brain cells and galaxies to the right.
Oh.
No. It has the words brain cells and galaxies right there. To the right, up, top right. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like that. Like yeah, just how it looks, because each one of those are all galaxies, you know.
That is insane.
Dude, just it's so fucking insane.
Cosmic web, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, and that's the thing that fascinates me when I got really into like the esoteric stuff of like they say as above, so below, within, so without, and how all these things within us reflect like the universe.
Right.
It just really, you know, it's kind of like, you remember that movie Notorious?
The Biggie Smalls one?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they got the guy, it's probably like P. Diddy guy in it. It's like, first, if you can change within yourself, then the world around you will change.
Yeah.
And that was another one of those things where I was like, okay, I should probably work on my sobriety.
Right.
Because my reality started getting so dark and messed up.
Yep.
And I was like, well, these things I'm consuming are probably not good.
Right. For sure. Dude, I mean, no, who really knows, dude? Like, it's kind of like a chicken or the egg type thing, you know, like did the universe create consciousness, or does consciousness create the universe?
Dude, oh my God, that is what I would trip on.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when I was tripping, where it'd be like I once thought of making a movie or a short film about like a person that was like just a regular guy. Like, he just works at like Walmart or the gas station. And he's just living his life like normal. But then there would be like a strange like cult or group of people that are like, they would kind of like watch this guy and be like, look, no matter what, we have to keep this person alive. He can't know that we exist. But if he dies, the whole universe ceases to exist.
Right.
And it's just on that concept of like you say, does our consciousness create our reality, or is reality creating our consciousness?
Well, when it was probably like the biggest dose of mushrooms I've ever had.
Heroic dose.
Yeah, it really was, dude. Like, it was way too much. You know, it could have been like, I was over at a friend's house and it was crazy. So like, I might as well just tell the story. I might have told it before. I don't think I've told it on the podcast. But yeah, like, he had this big bag, dude. I think it was like half an ounce or something. and we split it basically. And he was a bigger dude, and I'm, you know, probably fucking half his size. But we both eat equal amounts, you know. And so we're getting towards like the end of the bag, and he had this one little cap left. Or it wasn't little, but he just had this one cap left, and we're about to split it. And dude, it, like I was already like we just were eating it so quick that it was still coming on, you know. And so we're about to eat that cap, and it's so weird how like, because I was having those thoughts too. Like after we ate that, I was like, dude, this is it. Like I fucking broke the matrix, you know?
Right.
And it was funny too, because I think what I said was like, I was like, did we just wake up the world? Because that's what I felt like. I felt like everybody in the whole world kind of just like tapped in and was like telepathically connected, and everybody was just like, oh fuck, and it was like gonna start like World War III, dude. I swear to God, like I was fucking kind of scared, you know. And I asked him that. I was like, did we just wake up the world? And he was like, yeah, dude. So I thought he felt it too, and it was just like, I was like, dude, we're fucked, you know. And I asked him that the next day. I was like, why did you say yeah? He's like, I don't know, dude.
Well, I've had a.
That's not the whole story.
Oh, let's hear it.
So after that, like he's like, this is, I think I just put out like my first song is Young Signal. And so he was like stoked on that and wanted to listen to it. And I'm like sitting here trying to play it on my phone, and like I could not fucking do it. Like I was sitting there for like, I don't know how long. Yeah, dude, I was stuck. Like, you know, definition of stuck. Like I just couldn't make anything happen. And I guess eventually I just started taking my clothes off, you know.
I know that.
Yeah, like I didn't even know why. I was just like, I guess I have to take my clothes off. And he was just like, dude, what the fuck, you know. I think it was cool for a minute, and then he might have just realized like, oh wait, what, like, you know. And I'm just like way too cool with him. Like, yeah, dude, I was butt naked, just chilling, you know. And but so I had blacked out, you know, like I straight blacked out. And I come back to, and he's just like kicking me out. And I'm like, dude, I'm like, you know, start to get hella scared and shit. And I'm like, fuck, dude, what's gonna happen to me? Like I'm gonna end up in jail, or like, you know, they're gonna throw me in a fucking psych ward type shit. But he like, you know, he kind of seen me come back and seen how fucking scared I was and shit. And he's like, all right, dude, you're cool. Just like stay down here, like do your thing, you know, like I'm gonna go upstairs and lay down. But the craziest part to me was like just the whole thing of what I was going through in my head, just like throughout the night, was like, it was like that real like apocalyptic feeling, kind of like the world ending, and kind of everyone kind of like going together in a weird way. Like that's what I was tripping on. But it felt like it was my choice, you know. Like I'm like, I can make this happen. Like I just got to decide, like, are we going? Oh, that was the thing about like him wanting me to play my song. Was like, I felt like if I hit play, then like the whole universe and like everybody was gonna get sucked up into that song, and we're just gonna be trapped there for eternity. Like, oh, so I was just like, I was stuck. Like I couldn't do it. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna end the world.
Dude, that's wild. You know, there's something about that apocalyptic trip.
Yeah.
And something about getting naked. Like I've definitely done that a few different times. Sometimes it was more dangerous than others.
Right.
Sometimes I was by myself and it's like, dude, I can fucking be naked. Ain't no thing.
Yeah.
But then I'd also do things like piss somewhere I shouldn't have pissed.
Yeah. That's, yeah, you'll you'll forget you're not supposed to do certain shit.
It takes you back to this like primal
For sure.
thing where you go in like caveman monkey mode, but then the apocalyptic thing is really strange because there's been times where I feel like, okay, all of a sudden, you know, like I'm in my head, and then all of a sudden consciousness and reality would be like zoom, and it'd be like, whoa, like where'd it go? Or there'd be times where I felt like almost like a matrix wise, where I'd like look and all of reality would just like disappear. It would like dissipate, like almost like in the movie The Matrix,
Yeah.
you know, with all these digital codes,
Right.
where it'd be like, oh, reality is slowly disappearing. And it felt like the apocalypse, where it's like, oh, the world just ended. And then it would come back slowly. And it was like blacking out, but it also felt to me like, it almost felt like this weird thing of like every day, or whenever we like go to sleep and wake up, or whenever the sun sets and rises, and it, you know, our day, our cycle of the day starts again. That almost to me felt like, you know, oh, the world ends and starts over like every day.
Dude, yeah. In that podcast I was listening to, Duncan Trussell one, because the dude he was talking to was like, because he wrote a book on reincarnation, you know. But he was saying that like in a way we're reincarnated every day. But yeah, it's psychedelics are weird because those types of things, kind of like the fractal nature of just even consciousness, you know, like you can go on, your mind will really like, it's like your mind goes fractal, you know, and like the way your mind works is like in that way of like putting patterns together and like just realizing things, kind of how like, you know, kind of like as below so above type shit, you know.
Yeah, dude, and that's why people be freaking out about the Baphomet. You know,
dude, can I take a leak real quick?
Just go, man, just go.
I was just needed permission.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I was thinking about the things like the creation and destruction stuff, or it's kind of like energy, where they say, oh, it cannot be created or destroyed.
Right.
It just feels to me like a constant, like, oh, expand. Like the people say, oh, the universe is constantly expanding.
Right.
Like, well, if it's expanding, it's got to be contracting too. Like,
could be.
Is it just constantly growing and it's just forever?
Right.
Or is it like kind of grow and then like grow? I
think that makes the most sense. Because other than the like apocalyptic feeling, you know, that I was talking about on mushrooms, another feeling I would get would be like kind of a deja vu type shit, you know, like I've been here before.
Yeah. And even that, like when we were talking about that stuff in the past of like that could be like a soul memory or a spiritual memory, or like the cellular memories like in our blood.
Yeah.
Of like our ancestry, where it's like we are the same blood as our generations and generations before.
Right.
And so that's, but I definitely believe in a soul thing where it's like, but then again, there's that thing of like, yeah, when you come back to it, like you don't remember your karma, you're like amnesia.
Yeah.
If you programmed something in the beyond where like, you know what, if there's a destiny, I like to think that whatever, we have free will and the power to choose, but maybe ultimately, yeah, we could choose to go down, like in Stairway to Heaven.
Mm-hmm.
He says, what is it? There are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, what does he say? There are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. So
Right.
it just makes me feel like, yeah, like you can go this way or that way, but ultimately you're gonna end up in like the same place.
For sure. Fucking dead.
Dead. Exactly.
Dude, I mean, yeah, it's crazy, man. Like, fucking,
Unless they turn us all into cyborgs, they don't want to die.
yeah, I don't know, dude. Like, I think it's, people are like, yeah, I'm not afraid to die. I think it's fine to be afraid to die, but it's like, it's gonna happen, obviously, and just holding on to life, basically, like, because you can't really, like, so, I think about it and it freaks me out, and it scares me.
For sure.
But just the fact that, everyone's time is coming sometime, and like, you might as well do what you can to be happy, or just find your way to not fucking, be tortured by life, like whatever mindset you have to adopt, or whatever thing you like to do that makes your day enjoyable, or whatever,
Yeah. So when I'll talk to like therapists and even to my family and friends about this stuff. That's like, when I was really getting like strung out on the acid and alcohol, or even just the acid, then I would feel like, I'd be tripping on these things like reincarnation in my life. And I'd think like, well, okay, if I was already alive and living past lives and this is my next life, well, this would be my afterlife, my life after my life.
Mhm.
Or the first time I did
Right.
acid, I remember calling you up right away and saying like, oh my God, James, I did some acid and I had this realization. I felt like I took a magic carpet ride through the universe.
Right.
I went like out of body, and
Yeah.
I felt what I seen was like a golden infinity sign
Hmm.
going back and forth. And all it made me think of was like, oh yeah, one side of this is your life, and then the other side of it's like death, and then life, and then death, and it just never stops. It just continues forever.
I mean, what about the idea of like an anti-universe, right? Where it's like time runs backwards. So when you die, you like enter that universe and start living your life backwards until you loop back around,
Whoa, man. That actually, yeah. Whoa. That'd be so wild. Like dude, that could be though. Like that's what I've always thought about, a parallel universe, an alternate reality.
Hmm.
Where it's like, well, wouldn't everything be the exact opposite of this world? Not just like in a parallel reality,
Right.
I am on the right side of the screen and James is on the left.
Right.
Whatever. But
Right.
like, no, it'd literally be like everything's different. Like,
Hmm.
the sky is green, and or we live in the sky.
Yeah.
And the ground is above us.
Or even just like down to like a quantum level, and just who fucking knows, dude? It could be totally opposite in the way that like physics is not the same, and just the way energy works isn't the same. Time, like could be something totally different, that like where literally everything is the opposite. Like
I feel
so
like
much.
I've experienced that in a psychedelic trips. Like if you get so far in your mind
Mhm.
or out of it that you kind of, that's probably why you even have these thoughts, is because you've like been there.
Dude, for sure. I mean, yeah, it's like the upside down, in Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's strange how the mind works, and or just those things like you say, where the good with the good and evil things, where it's like when people be like, well, if the good things make the bad things bad and the bad things make the good things good, well, is it really, what if you look at the bad things as the good things? And
Exactly.
and then it's just like, oh, my head is fucked up.
Or just the way, like, you know, butterfly effect, and the way your choices lead to the next thing. Like, you could do a good thing that leads to a bad thing, or you could do a bad thing that leads to a good thing. Like, you don't, just because you do something good doesn't mean the thing that follows is going to be good too. Like, it's just like say you get an award, or say you get to host the fucking Emmys, and you end up, everyone's stoked. You're like, fuck yeah, let's celebrate. You get to host the Emmys.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, yeah, sick. Like, but you end up getting slapped in front of the whole world. Like,
Yeah, dude. It is crazy how like just those little things can have a big outcome. Isn't that the book you were reading? Atomic Habits?
Right.
How all
Yep.
those little things you do. And I actually said this to homie the other day, where I used the expression, that's just the straw that broke the camel's back.
Mhm.
Where it's like all these little things have just added up to a
Yep.
final like cataclysm, where it's like I don't like to get angry. I fucking
Right.
hate it. It's like a real issue and problem of mine.
Mhm.
And same with anxiety and stuff, but I can feel them coming on. That's what my therapist would be like, you gotta pay attention when you feel it coming on, like
Yeah.
in your gut or your chest. And sometimes my heart just starts fucking pounding.
Yep.
Like it's gonna pound out of my chest, if with anger too.
For sure.
And the thing that really pisses me off is gaslighting. You know what that is?
Right. Mhm.
And I don't know, for people out there that might be listening, they don't know what gaslighting is. What would you define it as, James?
Basically, like invalidating someone's whatever their issue is by making them feel like they're crazy or making shit up.
Yeah. And so that's the types of things I would bring up, was like, well, this was what happened in the past. And then they'd be like, I don't remember that. That's not how it happened. I'm like, no,
Mhm.
I remember this is
Right.
how it was. And then it's like, and especially if I was saying something like, hey, you did this thing wrong or whatever,
Mhm.
or whatever the thing might be, like, hey, I was asking you to do this or telling you to do this, and you just weren't doing it. And it was like, or whatever it may be, like you said this or you did that, and it's like, look, I'm not trying to be a dick.
Mhm.
And honestly, if people just like admit faults sometimes, like I've had to do that, like be like, you know what, I was wrong, I did do this in the past,
Yep.
and I'm sorry. But sometimes I just don't think sorry's enough.
Mhm.
Like, of course I forgive people, but it definitely doesn't change the past.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
that, like you say, the butterfly effect thing, that's what I'd have to talk to the therapist about. Cause I was like, look, I'd eat all these psychedelics and actually feel like I could travel like back in time or something.
Right.
Or I would try to do that. Like, okay, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to go out of body, travel through the multiverse into a different timeline.
Yep.
Cause I would feel like I could meditate and contact myself in a meditation like 10 years ago,
Right.
and talk to myself then and be like, okay, this is what happens to you in like 10 years if you do this. So, you know, maybe don't. And that could be your intuition being like, hey, if you do this, this is going to be the outcome.
Yeah.
And if you maybe do this, you're going to have a better outcome because I've already gone down that road.
No shit.
But I don't know. And so basically my therapist would be like, you can't change the past, and you can't trip on thinking that if you change the past that your life would be better now.
Right. Yeah, man. One thing, I think it was in that podcast, he was talking about like reincarnation and karma and shit like that, and just how kind of like how terrible some of the consequences could actually be, kind of just the idea of like hell and different religions have different like versions of that, and some of them are like, it's not just one place or one thing, so just the idea that there's a possibility of other existences out there that are like some sort of hell,
Mm-hmm.
Kind of makes you a little more grateful for just like, mundane struggles and just all the shit we're being worried about, like it could be worse even here on Earth, but it could be worse in some other dimension,
Yeah, dude, for real. And I would have those thoughts too if I was like getting like suicidal. I'd be like, well, what if I just like pop right over into a universe where everything is way worse for me, and way harder. But
for sure.
It made me think of this. You've probably seen the whole like Dante's Inferno and the 9 circles of hell.
Yeah, never really like, not very deep though.
Yeah, I mean, I've never looked into it too deeply, but it is an interesting thing. I'm trying to make it bigger, but it's not working. It's just getting blurrier. But yeah, like you say, those places of, limbo, lust, gluttony, and of course, this guy's probably writing something off of like the different sins and how much you like feed into them and what your hell could possibly be. But I would imagine, it's like type of things where I don't know if this will even be the right thing, but I've seen things they would be like, especially when I was tripping on like LSD, where they would have things like this, these are probably some chakra things. But yeah, basically those like levels of vibration,
Right.
and how like if your vibration is like super low, you would like live in these lower realms or whatever. And then if it's super high, you like, I guess it would be like these things when people are like, I'm ascending to the 5th dimension.
Right.
And yeah, I don't know. It's just a really interesting concept of, this one's a good one. Just like divine consciousness type stuff of if you can raise your levels, but it these types of things, yeah, it makes sense of like, oh, if you live in shame and anger and guilt all the time,
Right.
like you're just gonna be super low. But if you're like peace, love, and joy and acceptance of what things are,
Yeah.
I don't know. So those are just some of those things I try to keep in mind. I don't know if any of this shit's
Mhm.
true. It's just like I don't know what my fucking karma is. It's not like I have an app I can
Yeah.
track my karma with.
Right.
But I know that you've
Yeah.
always been a good guy to me, James. And I think you're a great guy just in general.
Appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. You've never seemed like a vengeful person, or you've never seemed like you have like ill will towards people or,
No,
maybe
man.
towards Hitler. But even then you're like, you know what? I'm just kidding.
Dude. Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Just following your intuition, like I think everyone pretty much knows what's good and bad, like even if people are walking around all confused and shit, like you fucking know.
Yeah. And
So
with the whole Crossroads thing, and people be like, I've had people be like, oh, you love the devil. I'm like, well, I actually am very infatuated with it just because of the whole story of like, the story of Lucifer is a really crazy story, especially when it's like, oh, he's an angel. And I'm like, it's just a fascinating story. And
for sure.
sometimes it really makes you wonder just about those things of like, was it really such a, like when they say, oh, if God was created him so perfect and it was like one of God's favorite creations, like I finally made a perfect angel.
Right.
And I basically heard a story the other day where they were like, well, then God created Adam in his image and he told everybody to worship Adam.
Mm-hmm.
And that Lucifer's like, what? I was made before him and I'm like better than him. Why? I ain't gonna worship him.
Right.
And so I'm even fascinated with just that whole story of like being cast from the heavens, and
Right.
it's just something I can never shake. And in my mind, I'm like, it's a really twisted tale, and it makes you wonder where you're like you say, with that genie that could either turn into a good genie or a bad genie. Maybe you just want a mediocre, a good bad genie. It's like, yo, he's like good balance.
Right. For sure. Yeah, dude. I mean, you, as good as a person you want to be, you still have to know when to not be an asshole, but just like, when to be, there's a better word for it, but yeah, like sometimes you got to be tough and sometimes you got to like not give a fuck and, not spare people's feelings. That's a big thing, like, you can't always be nice, even though sometimes it sucks. And for the most part, it's fine because, people will get over it, but like, yeah, you got to find that balance of just good and bad, like that's just the reality we live in where you got to deal with negative things and
Yeah, you got to put your foot down sometimes. I mean, I will not stand for this.
for sure. Yeah.
You're looking pretty gangster right now.
Oh yeah,
And
dude, my hat's all fucked up.
with your Adidas, bro.
Right.
You look like somebody like
Adidas.
he about to put his foot down right now
Straight up, dude.
on your face. He might step on your toe if you offend him.
I might step on you, dude. I will smash a toe.
He might smash a Koopa.
Yep. Easy. Too quick.
Yeah. Well, geez, I guess I better put this kid to bed. And
For sure, bro.
dude, it was a super dope conversation as usual. I'm gonna go through and chop these bits out because I know if I chop out the bits where it's like, yo, we're talking about karma here,
Mhm.
or we're talking about, music production here.
Yeah.
That's gonna just make it easier. And I do want to grow the audience and help people like discover us
For sure.
or just find the interest because they might not want to listen to the whole 2-3 hour conversation. I don't even know how long we've been talking, but we always have like an epic combo.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, dude.
All the time you have like either 1, 2, or 3 hours. These.
Stoked we got to use the song for the first time.
Dude, me too. We're gonna make a little video of it. I was gonna try to maybe find those. Did you just get the audio samples or video too? Did you like pull the video and make it audio?
I just got the audio.
Nice. Well, I was gonna try to maybe I don't even know what to find. If you have any ideas of
Yeah.
like little video clips we can use, I was like, I gotta get some Crossroads shots. I just started I flew up my drone for the first time today, a new one.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, dude, I just wanted to get a drone that would fly a lot higher.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Fuck
I gotta
yeah.
go find an actual Crossroads around here somewhere.
That's dope. Dude. Yeah. I'll think of some shit. Try to.
Yeah, dude. And even if you want to capture some stuff, I've even thought about, it's fun to pull stuff like straight off the web. But I'm like, I just want to do some stuff too, where it's like, I'm just filming the computer screen. So it gives it that like sketchy look of like, oh, it's all degraded and,
Huh.
but. Well, James, you've upgraded, bro.
How?
You got
How's
a new
that?
desk
Oh yeah.
and you got a Adidas. You look like you could, go, oh, the hooded.
Damn.
You in the Illuminati now? No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I knew it. I knew you were just a enlightened, illuminated. You always had that glow to me.
Yep. They finally accepted me. It's official.
Oh man. I think maybe you just had to accept the fact that, you were made for this shit.
Yep. It was
That's
all.
what happens when you're a badass motherfucker.
Yep. It's true. It's true, man.
All right, bro. Well, thanks again for chatting with me.
Hell yeah.
I always love it. And I always love you.
Always, bro. Much love.
All right, dog. Well, I'm going to hit stop. And to anybody listening and you made it this far, congratulations.
Yep.
Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And just even like, I want some people to leave some comments of like what they want us to talk about. So I'm going to be putting that out there a little more in the world.
For sure.
Once we hit 100 podcasts, we'll probably get 10 more listeners.
Dude. Yeah. On the 100th one, we gotta do something for it.
Yeah, we do. Maybe we'll be able to go live by then, and I'll be able to like get people commenting as we're doing it, because I feel like that would kind of be the game changer. If I could go live on here and then it would go live on Facebook at the same time,
Right.
like literally be playing on Facebook
Yep.
as we're chatting. Then people be like,
That'd be
oh,
dope.
you know what? I think I might actually watch this even for 2 minutes, just so they can say, hi, James. Or whatever. But we'll just have to tell them more of our naked psychedelic stories, then they'll tune in.
Straight up.
All right, y'all. We're out of here.
Peace.
We're going back to
Peace
the
and
moon.
love.